everybody. It's Sophie and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. Well, guess what? It's been a few days and the initial episode of season 5 of Better Call Saul premiered. It was entitled Magic Man. And this is what happened a little bit. We're back to the post-Breaking Bad saga with Jimmy, where something unexpected happens for us and Jimmy. Then it's on to what is going with him and his career and the final Jimmy to Saul transformation. Emerging back into the spotlight is the bad guy, the snitch on Gus for Mr. Ring the Bell Salamanca. Whilst he faded into the twilight last year, leaving the viewers wondering what all the fuss about him was about. Mr. Salamanca Snitch plays a more prominent role in this opening season 5 episode. He wants to meet Mike and ask about the German guy. Remember him? The one whom ex-cop Mike murdered and lost his principles and dignity?
Well, remember, he talked to him on the phone, and he was saying everything on the phone or whatever, and the guy heard their whole conversation, I think.
Oh, guess we have to rewatch that episode.
You can. I'm never gonna watch that again.
Nacho is back, and we even get a glimpse and a few from words from all the other German employees. A somber and grim-faced bunch who are unhappy with Mike. Some of their goodbyes to him were not pretty. Ouch! And then there's Kim. What's up with her? Is she Better Call Chuck or Better Call Saul? This episode was basically a tie-up of loose ends from last season's and initiating new storylines during this episode. I give it a B. Picking up from the final scene of a previous season to a fresh new season is a little daunting after all. Marco?
Well, I was not expecting this episode to be great, obviously, because of how bad season 4 was. I got really excited for the finale of season 4 because I loved episodes 8 and 9 so much. But then the finale, I did not like it. I did not like the whole plot with the chase and everything, and Warner getting killed, and I didn't like that at all. And I didn't like Mike, and I didn't like all that stuff. But this episode was actually pretty good, and it's exactly like what Safi said. It's tying up loose ends. In fact, it's almost eerily kind of like if the showrunners watched our reviews and if they wrote down a checklist of the problems we had, and then they said, okay, in this open episode, we're going to solve each of these problems one after the other, except for one. Which one's that, Safi?
What?
Which problem did they not solve out of the problems we've had with season 4?
Well, there's a thing with Kim.
The
letter.
Yeah,
I should think of that song, The Letter.
The letter that we talked about for like 10 episodes straight. That still has not been resolved. And it probably will never be resolved because...
I think they just forgot about it.
But that is frustrating, but other than that, that doesn't really play a part with this episode. I do think that this episode, the only weakness that it has is the fact that it doesn't really feel like a complete story. It feels more like, again, like what I said, a checklist of problems that they solve one after the other. Okay, number 1, what happened here? Number 2, why is this? Number 3, why is this? And that's the episode. it doesn't really feel like a naturally flowing, complete story. But I still liked it quite a bit. I don't want to get into spoilers, obviously, because I don't want to be like Sophie and ruin the episode for people. Uh, but I'll rate it a B, just a straight up B, because I do think it was a good episode. It was entertaining. I even think that Kim. Wait, no, I don't. well, people are gonna act like I'm victimizing her, but the thing is, she was like one of the best characters of the whole Breaking Bad universe, seasons 1, 2, and 3, and then in season 4 they ruined her, and now in season 5 opening episode, she was 90% good until something happens that I won't talk about until spoilers. So what's your rating, Sophie? I gave it a B. What do you give it?
I gave it a B.
Why are you copying me?
I wasn't. We didn't even talk about what we were giving it. In fact, I wasn't even sure how we were rating it.
Yes, we were. We talked about it.
Well, I forgot. Thinking about something else, but
I was gonna give it a B plus, but sometimes when I like things, I tend to kind of overrate them a little bit, and so I gave it a B just to be fair, because
well, I thought it was entertaining too, and it's just so hard. A lot of time has passed between last season's last episode and now, and
2 years instead of 1 year because of that El Camino movie.
right, and so it's a little I don't have this perfect memory like you, and it's kind of hard to tie up ends from before when it's that such a long time ago. And then you have to freshen it up with new ideas, new people, or like, for instance, reintroduce that bad guy who kind of, I don't know, faded away or something.
In the last episode, remember, all he does is chase them the whole episode, and then he basically just
spies
sits
on 'em.
there.
That's
And
right.
I hated that. I hated the fact, because he was introduced in episodes 8 and 9, and like I thought he was going to be really, really cool, because they had, when he first is introduced, he comes to the nursing home, and he gives Hector the infamous belt, and explains that it was from him, like, murdering setting this hotel on fire and killing all these people and then stealing the bell. Like, that was so cool, and then he's just wasted in that finale.
Yeah, and he's really, now, of course, this is just the beginning of the season, but he's really kind of like a spy. He's very suspicious, and he doesn't show it. He just smiles or nods or something, but he doesn't just believe everything. But I'll say more about that for the second episode. But he is quiet about what he thinks and knows. So he's not so loud about it.
In terms of spoilers, I really like some of the new ideas introduced in terms of Jimmy, in terms of him changing his name and becoming Saul, because that's what Chuck told him to do. He said, I would respect you a lot more if you just embrace the fact that you're a piece of shit. Like, that's what he said. That was like some of his last words to him.
Terrible.
And so he's embracing being a train wreck. And so I like that aspect, because in season 4 there really was nothing going on with his character that we could see, or it was going on. It was just so cryptic that you couldn't understand it. And then the future, the black and white future, that sequence was cool, because I was worried. Well, I don't know if Sophie was worried or not, because who knows.
I didn't know what to think.
Well, I was worried because he was asking him to keep on saying Better call Saul, even louder and louder each time. And if it's not enough that there's two police officers who are like 30 feet away, it's also the fact that what if he's wearing a wire and he wants him to say better call Saul
Mm-hmm.
loud enough so that the wire can hear. And I think that they did that on purpose. That was really smart writing, and so I like that a lot. And then I like seeing Robert Forster, the one who died after he was in El Camino,
Mm-hmm.
and was the best part of that movie. So that was cool. And then what else happened that we can talk about?
Oh, I don't know how.
Magic Man. It's tough to remember because I'm thinking so much about last night. Uh, the only major thing I can think of is gonna be about. Oh wait, Mike. My favorite quote was when a guy comes up to Mike and he says that Werner was worth 50 of Mike. I thought, wow, that is such a great quote, and like so fitting to say that quote because it's exactly what I was thinking. Like you just think about what Werner could have accomplished compared to what Mike ends up accomplishing. Nothing. I mean, you remember what happens with his money; it all gets taken away, and they use it as an example almost to try to scare Heisenberg, and then Heisenberg is the only one who ends up getting money to his family, and since he's such a selfish uh, asshole, he didn't bother giving any money to Mike's granddaughter, so that I mean his whole life is a failure, a complete failure in that aspect, and so I like that quote. Did you like anything in this episode, Sophie? Did you like any spoiler type of things?
Well, I just thought that, it, speaking about the same situation, but what he's talking about, since he's talking about spoilers, is after after that the villain, I said he had a more prominent role. Well, he asked to meet Mike, and I think I said that. And then he asked about the German guy, and so after that happened, the whole crew was sent home, but not all together. Each one was sent separately to some city, or maybe they had two people go to some place, and they're all different cities. I
They
mean,
had
all
to
over the
take
place.
they had to take flights from different places.
Right, right after that happened, and so they just stopped, and what happened was they all got, they showed each one and ticked each one off. No, not making them mad, but I mean, like you're going down the list. Okay, you're going to Salt Lake. Then it'll go to Berlin. You're going to Dallas. You're going
and then Kai comes up to him, and he says a lot of shit to him, and then
to Mike.
Mike punches him in the face, and it was so funny because it felt really perfect the way that they're doing this storyline, because I thought personally, whenever you write an anti-hero, I should have mentioned this in the non-spoiler part. Whenever you write an anti-hero, you always have to make them do evil things once in a while to make them anti-heroes instead of heroes. And so I thought that when Mike killed Werner, that they were trying to glorify that and make it look cool. Like, oh, look, the anti hero is doing his bad thing for the series. And then he won't do any more bad things. I didn't know that they were actually going to treat it like I felt about it, like it was a horrible thing. And like they were going to show the after effects of that.
On Mike.
Which continue on through the season, obviously, because I actually saw a promo for episode 3. I won't say anything about that, but yeah. And then with Kim, we want to talk about Kim. She had these clients, and she wanted to give them a deal, and they wouldn't do it because they're stupid, and they won't trust their own lawyer, and so Jimmy Jimmy comes up to her and wants to do some theatrics to sort of sway him into taking the deal. And she denies and says, "No, we're not doing that." And then what does she do as soon as Jimmy leaves?
She does what he's told her to do.
Yeah, she goes over there, lies to their faces, plays up the theatrics, treats them like crap, tortures them, and then it's like, oh yeah, wow, good job. And it's so hilarious because it just goes along with how horrible her character has become with season 4, where she has this two-faced mentality to her, where and I rewatched some scenes, and Jimmy said this in episode 9. He said that she likes to pretend to be a really perfect lawyer, and then every once in a while she likes to come and play in the dirt with Jimmy and do stuff that Jimmy does. And it's like, that's exactly what she does.
It's true.
She cuts corners when she needs to, and she's a cheater. She's a two-faced.
Well, she pretends like she's perfect, and she doesn't do anything wrong.
That's what I don't like about her, is because she's treating Jimmy like he's the evil one. And we're going to continue to see that, too. We're going to have this victimization of her, like, oh, he's ruining their relationship, and he's going to run their relationship in the ground. It's like, what about her? I mean, why does it just have to be about him, the fact that he's the problem? Because you look at the situation, she's doing horrible things. And then she had the whole thing in episode 10 where she said, I only do it for the good reasons.
Yeah.
And you know what Chuck would say about that? He would say, oh, God, Kim needs to go to jail, too.
Probably, because he was such a Pollyanna.
What the?
Well, that's somebody who thinks they're just too good they're just perfect in every way, like Mary Poppins or Pollyanna, and they could never do a thing wrong. And that was Chuck.
Yeah.
He was perfect. Okay, well, I think we should go on to the next episode.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.